Okay, back to the castle. The beaver from Cairo. During my days as merchant, I conduct business with Beaver Lodge. Back then, Fulalu father was leader. What a fond memory. Phylon and Phylon from Lucerina. Those two suffer at the hands of my brother. I want to make them feel as comfortable as possible in this castle. Okay, time to go to the worm once again. Ah, the prince. Just the man I've been waiting for. George, what is it? Bad news, I'm afraid. It seems that Godwin are going forward with Lim's coronation ceremony. Coronation ceremony? Putting her through the motion like that, as if she were their little dress-up doll. Well, not if I can help it. Please, Lady Charlotte, calm yourself. I know how you must feel, but the ceremony will be held in Sol Falena. So, does that mean there's nothing we can do about it? If there was, we would already have reconquered Sol Falena and ended this war. The problem isn't the ceremony itself. The real issue is that many foreign dignitaries have been invited. Emissaries from the Island Nation, the Dukedom of Gaian, and Nagaria are coming. Even Armus is invited. That want all the foreign nations to recognize that Godwin are the rightful ruler of Falena. I bet they're even scheming to form a few formal alliance. Can't have any foreign nation allying with the Godwins. Especially not the Island Nation Federation. Right, Ferret was from the Island Nation. Freyjadour, it would be terrible if you end up fighting against his homeland. So there you have it, Prince. You must meet with the Island Nation ambassador before he arrives in Falena. And I think it would be best if the friend himself goes, so that they will see we have nothing but good intention. What do you think, Your Highness? Leave it to me. Do you think that I can't do it? Do you really think I can do it? What? You worried that you're too young and they might walk all over you? Come now, you're already a fine leader, worthy of the respect. The Island Nation ambassador is Admiral Scott Egan. He's a good man, reasonable too. As long as Your Highness is listen. Okay, leave it to me. Alright, we're counting on you, Your Highness. The Island Nation ambassador is Admiral Scott Egan. He's a good man, reasonable too. As long as you're honest, he'll listen. In fact, I'll go with you. You will? Well, I spent more time in the Island Nation before. I know my way around. Also, I won't have to get with after my head there. It'll be nice to be able to walk around freely for a change. Give my regard to Amaral again, George. Excuse me? Oh, nothing. Just give my regards. Well then, Your Highness, we're counting on you to make a good impression. Ships traveling between Falena and the Island Nation usually stop at nearby islands for rest and supplies. The island's about halfway along the route, so ship tends to stay about 5 to 7 days. You gotta make contact with Admiral Egan while the ship's still docked there, friends. I'll get the ship all set up, so don't you worry about a thing. Meet me in entries when you're ready, Prince. We're gonna get this done. Put Roy to work while you're gone, so you needn't rush, Your Highness. I'd rather you took your time, in fact. Finally, we have George on our party. It's been a while. You want to take a good look at your father's hometown. Roots are important, remember that. He despises injustice. I believe he'll help us if we speak honestly with him. You heard of Vestries, haven't you? That lies far to the east of Rainwall. Lim is to become queen. Let's go to Ed Street. Oh, I can't wait to see Nerva Island. It'll be my first time in a foreign country. The alienation? Ah, yes. High climate, scantily clad woman. Please give Americans my regard. What? You say the same thing with Miss Arena, Lucretia. This is okay. You still say the same thing. Hello, Your Highness. The newspaper are ready for all my loyal reader. This paper being sold stand over the country. Whenever I write an article about you, the issue sells like crazy. Yeah, let's start from issue 0. The Downtime, Review Edition. Thanks to the kindness of Prince Freyjadour, our newspaper The Downtimes will soon be ready for publication here at the castle. And now, with publication night, there is one thing we hope our esteemed reader will understand. Although the Downtime does support His Royal Highness cause, we are not an arm of the Loyalist Army. Our purpose is strictly to report the news from an unbiased perspective. We'll be ever vigilant in pursuit to the truth. Teller, the Downtime reporter. It's number 1. Queen's Knight reduced Leckler to ashes. According to top secret source, the Downtimes have learned that during the recent battle for Leckler, the Godwin army set fire to the town in order to facilitate their own speedy evacuation. After pouring fuel throughout the western islet and igniting it, the Godwin troop waited for the Prince's siege to let out, then evacuate. Although many Leckler residents still remained behind, the Godwin troop then ruthlessly destroyed the western bridge to make sure they couldn't be followed. Thanks to the rescue effort of the Prince's army and Orok, the leader of the western islet, casualties were kept to a minimum, but the populace is furious over the Godwin faction barbarous act. And the fact that the Godwin commander was a Queen Knight sworn to protect Falena is inciting even more anger. Leckler strike alliance with Prince. The representative of Leckler 3, Islet, Folga, Wassel, and Orok have recently promised full cooperation with the Prince army. Leckler Islet have long been known for their disparate politics view. Since the start of the war, hostility between these factions has only intensified. However, the cowardly action of Queen's Knight Zahak during the recent battle over the town have instilled a great anger and resolve in all the people of Leckler. All factions are now firmly in the camp of His Royal Highness. Tutorial. Portrait of the Enemy. Introduction. In the special series publication, The Downtimes, hope to use extensive investigation and comment to focus on the heinous cast of enemy characters who continue to threaten the Loyalist army and, indeed, the very way of Falenan life. Many of our esteemed and loyal readers have been gravely injured and or had friend and family member murdered and kidnapped by this rogue gallery of scoundrel. Therefore, it's natural to wonder why anyone would want to learn more about them. However, in order to achieve victory, it is vital to know one's enemy as one knows himself. Therefore, the Downtimes firmly believe that this series, however controversial, can help contribute to the eventual victory of the Loyalist army. Next time, the traits of the enemy will take an in-depth look at the traitorous Queen's Knight Jahak, who cowardly set Leckler ablaze during the recent battle of that town. Issue number 2, front page. Prince living double life as bandit. Rumor have been circulating that the Prince have been spotted in Sable performing what are described as bandit-like activities. This news has caused much consternation among the Prince forces. However, there are conflicting reports that state the Prince was in Leckler at the time, but an eyewitness from Sable who requests and immediately sure the culprit is indeed His Royal Highness. I've seen him with my own 2 eyes, the witness said. He was walking, all regal, ain't no doubt it was the Prince. Perhaps not even an official denial by the Prince will put an end to this suspicion. The Yasuna Village hot springs dry up. The Downtimes have learned that Yasuna Village, a tourist resort famous for its hot spring, is experiencing a strange and sudden reduction in the amount of hot water coming from its subterranean source. The proprietors of the hot spring inns are at their wits' end. Adding to the street and heartbreak for the citizen of Yasuna is that no one can pinpoint the cause of this mysterious drop in water volume. None of us can figure out what's gone wrong. An inappropriator cheerfully exclaimed, "If something doesn't happen soon, we'll be out of business." Serials. Retreat of the enemy. Zahak. As promised, in the first installment of Retreats of the Enemy, the downtime will share what we have learned about the traitor's Queen's Knight, Zahak. To begin with, we must mention that Zahak is of noble birth. He is actually a distant relative of the Godwin family. In fact, it was Lord Godwin who first discovered Zahak's talent for swordsmanship and recommended him for a position of a Queen's Knight. Zahak's real taste of battle was during the armor's invasion 8 years ago, where he proved himself among the strongest of the Queen's Knight. Zahak is known for his quiet, measured disposition, but he's actually more cold and unfeeling than calm and composed. Those who have worked closely with him reveal an almost megalomaniacal personality, one who would do absolutely anything to achieve his goal. The Traits of the Enemy has uncovered the reason Zahak turned his back on the royal family. According to Insider, Zahak is firmly convinced that Lord Godwin's iron-fisted methods are truly the best way to make Falena into a more powerful nation. Zahak's unwavering devotion to the strong-arm tactic of Lord Godwin is probably the reason he set Lekler ablaze. In Zahak's judgment, this tactic was the best way to put the Prince force in a disarray and secure the Godwin faction rapid evacuation, even if it put many innocent at risk. Former comrades of Zahak now say that they won't put anything past him in the future. I was surprised at the time, but now that I think about it, that's just the kind of cold, calculated maneuver you make in battle. Former Queen's Knight Kyle said, "I was a damn fool not to expect it." It's a number 3, front page. You're embarrassed behind Bandit Prince. The downtimes have learned that as expected, the Prince was indeed innocent of the bandit-like activities ascribed to him by Witness and Sable. The Prince force succeeded in capturing a band of bandits on Ranro Mountain outside Sable. The bandit ringleader has been pretending to be the Prince. It turned out that Bear was the mastermind behind the scheme. In his word, he wished to sully the Prince's name. But the Prince forces were able to lure Iram to Sable and reveal his camp in public, clearing the Prince's name. Instead, it has been Baru's family whose name has been sullied. Repeat. Sable Corps joined Prince camp. With the Bandit Prince scandal resolved, the downtime has learned that Lord Rolbel of Sable has declared complete support for His Royal Highness. Lord Rolbel officially announced that the main force of the Sable Corps, led by General Din, would be placed under the Prince's command. On the condition that he joined the Loyalist army, Roy, the leader of the bandits, was pardoned of the crime of gross impronunciation of a regal with the intent to profit and deceive. Roy himself has now personally sworn fealty to the Prince. He is currently residing in Sarah's Lake Castle. Betrayed of the Enemy, Urim Barrows. In this installment of Betrayed of the Enemy, we examine one Urim Barrow, the man behind the Bandit Prince scheme. Due to his incompetence and other shortcomings, it was suddenly considered whether he was even worth including in the series. However, his plot could have severe ties between the Loyalist army and Sabdal, so we will take a closer look at him. As our readers doubtless know, Urim is Lord Barrow's second son, because his eldest son Hiram was assassinated during the battle over succession between Princess Falzram and Princess Saharewer. Urim is in line to eventually become head of the Barrow family. Urim is certainly not the ideal candidate to head up a senatorial faction lacking common sense, strength, and bravery. Furthermore, he is hugely unpopular among the citizenry. The Traits of the Enemy has reason to believe that this chicken-hearted man is not done scheming against the Prince. According to Lucerina, Urim's sister, the two of them were very close when they were children. But as he got older and began to help their father with his work, Urim became cold and distant. Around this time, he became deeply, indeed some might say obsessively, attached to Princess Limslea. Issue number 4, front page. Nerged sets fire to Beaver Lodge. Beaver Lodge was set ablaze last night in a bold and shocking pre-dawn attack. Fortunately, the Prince Force rushed to the scene and performed search and rescue operation, keeping casualties to a minimum. However, most of Beaver Lodge residents were severely damaged in the attack. According to the Prince Force, Nethergate, the assassin group that also participated in the assault of the Sun Palace, was behind last night's arson. One of the attackers is alleged to have declared that the purpose of the assault was complete and total genocide against the Beaver and their community. Lord Godwin has often made public reference to Falena's historical, racial, and cultural identity being subverted by the continued existence of the inferior demi-human races. There is little doubt that his curliest beliefs are behind the surprise attack on the Beaver community. Red page. Beaver, Prince Strike Accord. The morning of the Nethergate sudden assault on Beaver Lodge, Fualu, the Beaver Elder, expressed his deep appreciation to the Prince for rushing to help his community in his greatest hour of need. He formally announced the Beaver official intention to ally with His Highness and to oppose the Godwin. The Beaver community is known for its ability to stay out of conflict. During this war, the Beaver have done well to maintain their neutrality, but after discovering that the Godwin faction was plotting their extermination, they deemed it pointless to maintain this position any longer. Prince Freyjadour heartily accepted Fualu's offer of an alliance. Materials. Portrait of the enemy. Dolph. This time, portrait of the enemy examines Dolph, the enigmatic young man apparently behind the surprise attack on Beaver Lodge. Dolph is a member of the notorious assassination organization Nethergate, and we have reason to believe that he played some role in the assault on the Sun Palace as well. However, portraits of the enemy has been unable to uncover the slightest hint about his personal history prior to joining Nethergate. In fact, even his place of birth and parentage are shrouded in mystery. We do know, however, that he has been known to go by the alias of Michafute. This name is strikingly similar to that of Takefute, who was supreme commander of Nethergate at the time of its dismantling 80 years ago. But we can only speculate on the relationship, if there is any, between the two. Issue number 5, front page. Redwall falls into enemy hands. Around the same time Beaver Lodge was attacked, the Godwin army stormed into Rainwall and gained control with little resistance, but the townsfolk had little sympathy for Lord Varys, now knowing that he had secretly conspired with Armas to defeat our beloved Falena. Some even said he deserved this defeat. Dick page. Leon snapped at Bandit Prince. The Downtimes had learned that upon capture of the Bandit Prince, the Prince's bodyguard, Leon, known for her mild disposition, openly unleashed her fury on Roy, the one who had been impersonating His Highness. Leon apparently urged him in no uncertain terms to repent for his action. Rumor has it that this talk with Leon is what persuaded Roy to give up his bandit ways. Allegedly, Leon was sent over the edge after Roy persisted in addressing her as Sweetie and calling His Royal Highness a coward. The Downtown attempted to reach both parties for interview, but was rebuffed in both cases. "Please, don't ask me about that. I'm so embarrassed," Leon said. Rios was less cordial, simply nodding and walking away, muttering what sounds like crazy-ass reporter under his breath. Real. Retreat of the enemy. Salumbarus. This time we examined the action of Salumbarus, the unscrupulous head of the Barus family. When Renwell collapsed, but Barus was forced to surrender to the Godwins, his long-standing enemies. The public, however, tired of his constant selfish maneuvering, has shown no sympathy. After all, it was Lord Barus who pushed for Princess Falzam to ascend to the throne despite her being only second in line to the title, igniting the Falzam-Srahurewar conflict. And it was Lord Barus who pushed dam construction forward, which planted the seed for the Lord Lake uprising. Lord Barrow even stole the Dawn Rune and allied with the new Armor's Kingdom. Lord Barrow's intentions were decent, as his goal was to maintain peace by preventing the rise of the hardline Godwin faction. But he is a man who would sell Falena out to accomplish that goal. A true blight on our nation. Nice. It's number 6, front page. Godwin planning Limslea coronation. According to reliable sources, the Godwin faction is planning to push forward with Princess Limslea coronation ceremony as soon as the period of mourning for the late Queen Austin has ended. After suffering a series of humiliating losses to His Royal Highness, the Downtimes believe that if the Godwins cannot defeat the prince militarily, they will outmaneuver him politically. Please, this isn't a word of commenting on, a spokesperson for the Loyalist army commented. While the prince's forces may be putting up a facade of nonchalance, there's a little doubt that, in private, schemes are being had to stop this coronation. An informal survey by the Downtimes revealed that the Godwins have little support among the common folks. The Godwin have already taken one queen from us, said a townsperson who requested anonymity. Do they really plan to further discredit the throne by installing their own puppet ruler? Back page. Godwin coronation, international affair. With Princess Limslea coronation ceremony approaching, sources say that the Godwin have sent out invitation to all the surrounding nation. The Godwin are no doubt planning to use the presence of international delegation at the ceremony to prop up their legitimacy of their suspect regime. Recipients include the Island Nation Federation, the New Armors Kingdom, the Scarlet Moon Empire, and the Dukedom of Gaian. In a shocking development, an invitation was even sent to Nagaria. We have not had formal diplomatic relations with their violent theocracy since their invasion of Falena a generation ago. While the invited countries surely have heard rumor about the legitimacy of the coronation, no one are in a position to make with by turning down such an invitation. Reliable sources say that all the invited nations are expected to show diplomatic courtesy. All will be sending delegations to the ceremony. Kill. Portrait of the enemy. Giselle Godwin. Soon as Princess Limslea coronation ceremony is held, Giselle is expected to assume the role of commander of the Queen's Nine. His father, Lord Godwin, is a man who makes his presence felt, while Giselle lurks in the shadows. But insiders say that Giselle is the one who's really dangerous. We have reason to believe that he was the brains behind Childeric's victory at the Sacred Games. While Lord Godwin is known for taking only necessary action, Giselle is the opposite. He loves to meticulously set traps and then watch his victims squirm in the palm of his hand. One can only imagine what sort of diabolical schemes will have in store of a commander of the Queen's Knight. As commander of the Queen's Knight. That's that. Okay, let's go. Asterisk. Off you go.